This is the first time I'm going to say this. On Monday Night Raw, a post-Raw after a pay-per-view is better than the show. On fucking Friday. I don't know if there's going to be a conclusion to some most stuff. I understand they're doing this for Stomping Ground because most of the women, no women competed on Friday, and obviously women are one of the vocal points of what WWE is trying to push. So they literally just did this as a tourist attraction, just showing WWE around the world, in the fucking Middle East, wasting everybody's time, giving us unconcluded pay-per-view matches, and of course, four old men in 2 matches that nobody gave a fuck about. Except that these guys were popular a decade ago, and I have to view them on pay-per-view with a shit main event and an match with Orton and Triple H. Why the fuck did I watch this? Other than that, let's start Monday Night Raw. Started with Rollins coming over with a chair, trying to get a stupid babyface-ass promo, feeling like Lesnar was going to attack him. Of course he's going to attack you. Why couldn't you just do a promo backstage? I think people forget those exist now. And then Baron Corbin complained about the referee for no damn reason for a majority of the match, that the referee barely made any minor mistakes. Now it's just him playing heel so far, even though he's not GM anymore. He somehow has the authority to have his own special guest referee. Sami Zayn is authorized to be the referee, and the main event was Kevin Owens on SmackDown. Ooh, the wild card effect. Wasn't there supposed to be like 4 guys in wild card effect? There was like 7 wrestlers from SmackDown coming to Raw. What was the point of this? So we got a crappy promo with Baron Corbin, giving us his illustrious promo ability and showing how terrible that he is as a heel, or disinteresting he is with his stupid ass look. Getting rid of his long hair, his decent look back at like 2017, to looking bald and looking like he's the manager of Target. The faggot looks terrible. His match with Rollins opened the show, and it was like a Monday Night Raw-esque match. Nothing about this screamed anything important. At all. This watch has more authenticity. This has more practicality and more charisma, as Baron Corbin does, with that stupid-ass look, and he's supposed to be a captivating, manipulative piece of shit, and no one cares about him. Next up was the match opener, involving Lars Sullivan facing off against the Lucha House Party, and they didn't even say elimination handicap match, they just said handicap match. Then they illustrated elimination rules. So we got rid of Lindsay Dorado first. Then Kalisto with his little tilt-a-whirl power slam shit. And then they tried to rush this shit so badly with him like doing Braun Strowman. Here's the thing, they try to give him this interesting personality. Why fucking luchadors? Why nobody that's like a underdog or something? Or a jobber? Why the fuck the Lucha House Party? And he continued just doing this back and forth like he's really torturing the guy, when he's just been hitting the same finisher and is barely causing any negative effect, critical damages on its body. So, Lars won. He could have done this on a fucking Super Showdown, but it ended off fucking disqualification. So that was completely pointless. They concluded something that could have been so simple thanks to a live pay-per-view in a different huge country, and they did it on Raw. It was pretty decent finishes. Thanks, Lars Sullivan is incredibly strong, but stop fucking him over with these jobbers. Give him a real competition. Next up was Miz TV involving him interviewing fucking shit Samoa Joe after assaulting Rey Mysterio after giving him literally the U.S. title. And he couldn't have made fun of Rey Mysterio by like calling him a coward. Why would he give up? Blah blah blah. Bobby Lashley came up and just Braun Strowman just came up and like, I won the U.S. title shot. Bobby Lashley came out of nowhere and it's like, me and Samoa Joe have some history. Oh my god, they're bringing up Impact. Oh my god, they're bringing up Impact. Holy shit. And then Ricochet came. Then Cesaro came with his Crash Holly tights, and then started a sucker punch and immediately escalated into an impromptu six-man tag. It was a good match, I'll give it that. Samoa Joe got some really devastating move. Braun Strowman shown what he did on Friday. Just showed that he somehow got crazy athletic. I think he did a kip up, a leapfrog off Bobby Lashley. That was impressive. Some pretty good moves off Ricochet. Some really stiff moves off Cesaro with his European uppercuts. And then huge luchador moves straight from Ricochet. Fucking crazy match. I don't know why this was impromptu. They could have been scheduled. They could have scheduled this. I wanted to see a U.S. title tournament, but I know the pay-per-view isn't until fucking in 2 weeks. So they got to do something quickly. I don't give a shit. It just showed Samoa Joe's a shit heel, and it just proved that Miz can really stop being a babyface. He wrestles terribly as a babyface. All he does is rip off Daniel Bryan's move, and he just does leapfrogs now. He does springboards now, and try to think that he's a babyface. He can't even do hot tags correctly. This match was alright, but Jesus Christ. Some of the character motifs were kind of fucking... Sorry about that. Pretty messed up. Next up was involving like an interview before we had a tag team match involving Lacey Evans and Becky Lynch. It wasn't really an interview. It was only like I think one question made, and then they started bantering, somehow taking this like it's a really interesting. But some retard is going to explain to me, but Becky Lynch is the rebel, and Lacey Evans is a woman. She's like supposed to be the Southern Belle, so that makes her like a feminist. Shut the fuck up. Nothing about Lacey Evans screams any interesting motifs or a heel. Molly Holly is still more interesting than fucking Lacey Evans by a huge margin. Not only is she a better wrestler, it's just more captivating. And she does not look like any other woman in the damn roster. She looks like a regular woman other than the supermodel-esque superstars from back in the day when they were called the Divas. And now it's the women's division, and fucking Lacey Evans looks just like fucking Charlotte Flair. Except less athletically gifted. So it was Lacey Evans and Alexa Bliss. They did a backstage segment involving her and Nikki Cross, showing that they have a relationship for some apparent reason, even though the finish concluded off an accident involving Nikki Cross. I hate Bayley so much. Thanks to really devaluing the SmackDown Women's Championship, and Bayley's just given this because she's losing relevance over because the four horsewomen motif bullshit. Even though I barely see her win tag matches, and even if she does win tag matches, it's forgettable because like she has no interesting wrestling moves at all. She did a Bayley to belly somewhere, I think on the apron. There were some really good moves. There were some really decent moves off Lacey Evans, actually showing that sometimes she can be gifted. Alexa Bliss tried to finish off the match, trying to get her little tilted moonsault going, and then then the knees up, then another women's right. It's like if you fucked up the Shillelagh gimmick with Finlay back in the day, because you remember him with the Shillelagh, and he usually used that as like a cheap tactic, but he was still babyface, so it didn't bother the fans. But the women's right's supposed to be a captivating finisher. First time you see her feud with Becky, fucking no sells it by the jump. It's supposed to be a captivating finish. Somehow Bayley woke up easier than enough to, get her knees up and finish it. It's like there's inconsistency with the women's right, and I really hate that. This match was forgettable. It was just a match. Just to show that the heels win, because I think Alexa Bliss just trying to put her as this fake babyface before, she crosses Nikki Cross. Haha. Next is Paul Heyman announcing Brock Lesnar is done announcing his cash-ins, obviously, because he's trying to bring up his better judgment. He shouldn't be making these decisions. He should go with his better conscience that is Paul Heyman. Over this interesting announcement, just for Paul Heyman to have to waste our ring time, because there's a difference between promo time and ring time. You want to do a promo in the ring, it has to be something that in fact infects the business, or at least it infects something that's going on for everybody, or at least for a personal feud. Paul Heyman is just the hype guy. Why couldn't he do this promo backstage? He's wasting promo time. So it was just a waste of fucking time. I hated it. I hated this promo. Paul Heyman continued to get annoying over time, and I hate that because I like Paul Heyman. He's one of the most intelligent speakers I've seen in the wrestling business, and kind of, was a reason for your wrestling childhoods if you haven't watched ECW, and kind of the nightmarish childhoods if you've seen the downfall of ECW. Next up was the Iconics facing off against local competitors yet again, because obviously they can't stay consistent beating babyface talent because they're annoying yippy heels, and they haven't done much. I don't think they even defended the women's championships at all since winning it back at WrestleMania 35. I don't think they defended at Money in the Bank. They obviously didn't defend it on either SmackDown or Raw before Super Showdown, so they're just losing to fucking current main roster jobbers and current jobbers, like local jobbers. So this was a pointless match. I think it was supposed to be her holding her the glam slam form, like some kind of adapted and gory special, and then a knee to the face. Really, I'm sick if you can't tell. A really disinteresting finish. Next up, I think there was a backstage segment involving Shane McMahon announcing his little celebration over his victory against Roman Reigns, and then later on there was Sami Zayn asking to be the special guest secondary referee for the main event involving Kevin Owens, with fucking Kevin Owens against Seth Rollins in the main event. So that was pointless. Whatever. Just to show that there's some authority in the main roster. Things is we're gonna make everything without order. We're gonna make everybody move to SmackDown or Raw, whatever you want. This isn't working out. No more GMs? Hey, let's go to the Middle East while we're at it. Let's fuck up life. Let's just do it. So, that happened, and then they start celebrating into the ring. Obviously mocking Roman Reigns and shit. And then Drew McIntyre doing his little promo, because he somehow has an automatic match with Roman Reigns without any personal beef or Roman Reigns saying anything. He gave this retarded, intense promo. It didn't do a goddamn thing. Except he's just gonna fight Drew McIntyre for the umpteenth time. And these guys have decent matches with each other, they do. But it's imagine seeing Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, and they wrestled back at WrestleMania 2017, a great match. And then you see him fight the next night on SmackDown. Kind of devalues some of the hype if it's not for a better storyline. Then it just came up to a triple threat tag team match for the Raw Tag Team Champions. So, real quick, what the fuck happened with Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins? First, you beat the Revival back at Kickoff at WrestleMania. And then you came up beating them in a rematch. You beat the fucking Usos. Then you just have a triple threat tag. You lose. You lose, and nobody remembers you with your championship reign. Because with WWE, we got billions of dollars. We could just forget making characters now. We can just forget making characters and having a reason to be mainstream. Because Zack Ryder used to have the New Jersey gimmick. Kurt Hawkins, they share YouTube videos together at times. I was just suspecting something like the laid back gimmick with the hard working gimmick, thanks to like Kurt Hawkins had a losing streak and shit. But no, they just brung up like we deserve these titles because of sympathy. We earned that sympathy. Because I had a losing streak, and I haven't been on TV because I'm literally ain't shit. Literally, I haven't been shit since 2011. And that Kane storyline. You guys can forget that, right? It's not the reason why my career downfalled, right? At all. I won the Intercontinental title under 24 hours, and nobody remembers my U.S. title reign. I really should plan to kill myself. Either way, this was a pretty good triple threat match. Pretty fluent. Pretty good off the Usos. Yet they went Young Buck mode. They continued super kicking everybody. He's like, sometimes I hate that because the Usos are great wrestlers. But Jesus Christ, could they overdo a match? As much as I like their matches, even though like the 90s were like punch kicky, and they sometimes overused weapons. Sometimes that's a few of my complaints, but it's still entertaining. It still had storytelling. It still was violent. It was still cool to see the characters. Now you overdid the Usos. You rewrote the Usos. Other than this colorful, high flying tag team, you have this. You had this cool urban like tag team on SmackDown. Then you brought it to Raw and you made it prank faggots, and now they're just overdoing super kicks and splashes. And it just came off one of the Revival stealing the pinfall. Shane Dawson also had a cool move earlier. It's like I can barely name any fucking notable move except like Zack Ryder's lacking to do corner moves anymore, except that little boot that he does in the bottom of the turnbuckle. So the Revival become, I don't know, 5-time tag team champions already? Whatever. That was the match. Next up was the Firefly Funhouse segment. Also, I heard that they were introducing the next week. Our Truth, the 24/7 champion, will be introduced into the. They actually have a special guest due to the Firefly Funhouse. Something that I really wanted overall this time. I just wanted a different wrestling guest so we can get character development. We can get a glimpse of a storyline. Something. Just fucking something. Anything else involving the 24/7 championship was forgettable. It didn't even change. All they did was a stupid segment with a fucking elevator. And I think it broke down and they stayed there for a few minutes, so nothing like that would change. It would be fun. It would be funny if they had the referee in there, but they left the referee out. So no like unpredictability, like who would be the next 24/7 champion, and then some way for R-Truth to win it back, like something like that. It was just the most. It is somehow the worst segment in the show. And somehow the funnest segment wasn't even on TV. Jinder Mahal won the 24/7 title outside of the fucking plane to the Super Showdown. And then he lost it in the jet. So something like that could have been so cool. Completely spread on that's supposed to be on your phone. Shit like that shouldn't be on your fucking phone. It's like, imagine if, like, the tag team titles are so irrelevant right now. What if we made a title change and somebody else from NXT UK won the SmackDown tag team titles? On fucking Twitter. Nobody wants to watch that shit. They want to watch it on TV. They want to know who these guys are. It's like saying you bring back La Resistance and they're on NXT instead of the main roster. Fuck. This was a really crap segment. That was a segment with lost potential. Next up was the Firefly Funhouse shit, and it involved the fucking bunny. He was almost getting eaten again by the buzzard shit. Then he gets smashed off Bray Wyatt and turning him into jelly. Somehow his insides have jelly in it. So that was fucked up. But it was just fucked up. It was just fucked up. That was the entire segment. Next up was the main event with special guest secondary referee Sami Zayn in an match with Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. These guys have better matches in the past. It was just powerbomb off the outside, even though it looks like Seth Rollins wants to break a nigga's neck. It's not the first time you nearly ruined a Hall of Famer's career. I mean, you did ruin a Hall of Famer's career. You kind of made sure Sting never wrestled again. Ever. Sami Zayn got Kevin Owens out of a lot of trouble in some certain parts of the match. That was the point of it. Kevin Owens did win off disqualification, so that was bullshit. Why couldn't you just have him, like, you knock out the referee, you cause a fast count, and Kevin Owens wins. So what's the problem with doing that? It was just super kick, Rollins barely selling the ribs. All because he got hit with a few times with a steel chair off Brock Lesnar. So that was whatever. And I didn't give a shit about this show. This gets a 5 out of 10 for me. And that's a rarity that I'm giving the score. I actually like some of the wrestling matches. And a few of the segments were actually quite entertaining. Especially that time when Cesaro sucker punched the shit out of Ricochet for no goddamn reason. And I sort of enjoyed the 6-man tag. And the triple threat tag was pretty entertaining. Nothing else about the show got me pissed off. Lars Sullivan was shown to be a bit of a monster, so I was quite intrigued off that, except I thought they should have left this for Super Showdown. If you wanted to do an elimination handicap match. It's like handicap matches are supposed to be for the heels, not the baby faces, and the Lucha House Party is supposed to be the baby faces. And yet they are illustrated for a handicap match. That makes no fucking sense. So this was stupid. The show was stupid, and you're lucky I'm giving it a 5 out of 10 because I'm sick. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. A lot more videos will be coming for me later, like after some of you guys are done with school. Have fun. Thanks for watching.